Hi guys, it's Sky, and today I wanted to talk about something that I never thought I would talk about on this channel. This has not been easy to want to talk to you guys about because I have been talking about digital marketing for the last year or 2 years now, and it's been quite the journey, starting the course to getting my job. And so I just wanted to update you guys on what has been happening and where my life is going and why I made the decision to do what I did. So let's get started. So I just wanted to keep you guys updated and to let you know that I have quit my first digital marketing job that I had with my agency. There are a lot of reasons why I decided to leave this company. It had nothing to do with digital marketing. I love it to death, which is one of the reasons why it was so hard to leave, and I loved my coworkers dearly. So with those two things, it was very hard for me to decide to leave, and it made the process a little hard for me to go through. I've never quit a job before. I have never quit a job that I had wanted for so long. But some things were starting to happen at the company that I did not agree with. So it is a very hard subject to talk about. But I do want to talk about this to you guys because now I have experienced this event in my life. And, I am way better than I ever have on this whole digital marketing journey, which is wonderful and fantastic. But that being said, I just wanted to tell you guys a few reasons why I decided to leave. So first off, in this field, it is very important to stay up to date and current with all the latest tools, technologies, making sure all your employees are updated on all the updates with the platform as much as possible, and making sure that you just are surrounding yourself with people that care about digital marketing, care about this field, and know that, it's constantly changing. And so all of my coworkers were very up to date on the latest trends. My agency primarily specializes in Google ads and social media, so we don't do any email marketing or SEO. So I was on the Google ad side, which I love doing because I do love Google AdWords, and actually it's called Google Ads now, but I do love Google Ads, and that is where I wanted to start working in, and I'm very grateful for the experience I had. And so yeah, but so first is staying up to date, and I did not believe, well, I know that the higher up or C-level people at my company did not know much about digital marketing as I do, which I don't think that a company that you are working for, if the people higher up than you do not at least have a broader understanding or are not willing to put in the research to understand your job or to understand so they can make a valuable decision on, your guys' future of the company. I believe that it is very important to make sure that the C-level employees are, staying up to date and want to be current with all of the work that their their employees are doing. So that is very important to me, and I started noticing that my C-level people did not understand, and it started bothering me because they would look to my coworkers for advice and me for advice. And it's a lot of stuff, and I probably will not talk about it all on video just because it has been a very long and tedious process. But that being said, I just wanted to be honest with you guys. The second reason that I decided to leave was communication. With this field or with any job whatsoever, communication is probably the most important thing for a company to have, a solid communication structure with ways to IM each other, ways to call each other easily, which we all had, but the communication between what was happening in my company and what was happening upstairs was not congruent. And I think it is very important to understand that when you start feeling like you are not being listened to, or you start feeling like everything is running around in circles and you don't feel like anything's getting done, then, there's a good sign in understanding that, A, something is wrong, or B, you're noticing something that your C-level is not. And if you do notice that something's going on, I would love for you to bring it up and, talk about it with your manager or above that, just so you have that communication. As I was getting more comfortable in my role and at my company with my coworkers, I started realizing the lack of communication that was happening between what was going on with us and what was going on upstairs, and the decisions that they were making for our company sometimes were not congruent with how we felt, which, yes, of course, we are the employees, and so we are supposed to listen to C-level at all times, and I totally agree with that. But with the lack of understanding upstairs, I think it was very difficult for people to have a proper opinion and have a good direction for our company. And that's the last thing I want to, so I'm just going to bring up the top 3 reasons. So, yeah, and then the third one is vision. So, I am a person, and I hope this for a lot of young people and just working professionals and just people in their careers, that with a company, you want to be congruent with the vision of that company. You want to feel like you are following something that you belong to, that, has a good purpose for you. You feel at home with it. You want to make sure that what the person is thinking upstairs, or what their mission is what the mission is, congruent, or you want to help with that mission in your heart. And I know this sounds very, cheesy, but when you start working for a company, you get comfortable, and you start realizing that jobs are way more than just money and coworkers and the actual job. It is, a place where you spend a large period of your life. And so it's very important to, make sure that you are congruent, or you agree, or you believe in the vision that the company has. Because if you don't, you start doubting the company, you start doubting why you're there, you start feeling like, should I be here, should I not be here, and I'm not gonna lie, I spent many months, when I started realizing, hey, I don't know where we want to go as a company is where I would want to go with them. And when I started realizing that, I started, understanding that I needed to figure something else out, because I knew I did not want to stay with the company forever. And I know that sounds really bad, and I know it sounds, I hope it doesn't sound like I'm ungrateful, because I learned so much at this first digital marketing job, and I wouldn't be here talking about digital marketing if I hadn't gotten this job. So I am extremely grateful for this opportunity that I had with this company, and I'm extremely grateful for how much I learned, and being able to communicate what is going on with you guys, and to communicate about digital marketing jobs. But yeah, I have become way more of a intuitive person when it comes to understanding, what makes a good career, and what makes you passionate about your work. And my greatest, what I understand is I love digital marketing to death. Like, I was actually starting to want to go back to school in, October. I started harvesting, the idea of me wanting to leave my company started in around September, October. So this was not an easy decision to make, because I had been pondering it for a very long time. And I actually thought, hey, maybe I should go back to school, because, maybe it's the job that I don't like. And then I started filling out applications. I actually got into a school, a state school that I, would love to go to, but I started realizing I'm still on this mission. I'm still trying to see where I can go, and I'm still young enough to see, if this is going to work for me. And so I have time and understanding that, if it doesn't work out, I can go to school. But I also, I'm more of a skill leveled person right now. I'm not someone that wants to sit in a classroom for 4 years. I would rather, learn a skill, become a master, and then, be able to brand myself and, work jobs that I feel like I can move up in a company, or work as a remote employee, or work as a freelancer. There's so many opportunities within this space that, you can become your own boss, or you can work for a company that you love. There's so many great opportunities, which is why I decided in the end, when I even got into the school, and when I, started filling out financial aid, I was like, I don't want to do this, because I still want to give it my all, because, coming across this course, coming across this whole lifestyle, and this, this different outlook on life has become hugely beneficial for me, and, helping me with my migraines, and helping me not stress out as much, and helping me, be able to find out who I am as a a young woman and just as a human being. And so coming back to my job, it was very difficult for me to quit because I loved my coworkers. I loved my day-to-day tasks, and I loved, not the environment that I was in, but I was not micromanaged. I was not, I was heard. I had many meetings with a lot of people within my company, both my managers, C-level, co-workers, anybody that you can think of, financial. I learned so much, HR. So it was a very, very, very wonderful experience, and I would not take it back in a heartbeat. And but that being said, I started not believing in the vision of the company, and that's when I started doubting myself. I used to drink 2 cups of coffee a morning at work, and I started getting very anxious at work because I thought it was because of the coffee, and so I stopped drinking coffee at work. And then I was starting to realize that I was still anxious at work, and I was like, why am I getting anxious when I'm so comfortable here and I love my coworkers and I love this environment? But I started realizing that the lack of understanding and the lack of communication and the lack of vision in my company was enough for me to want to leave. And this happens with everybody. I feel like everyone has this experience at least once where they get to a job that they've wanted for so long, and then they get there and that there's a lack of culture, there's a lack of diversity, there's a lack of some deeper emotional things that you have to associate and you have to believe at your company. I went to a conference, and one of the speakers talked about that the first thing that a company should really truly focus on before finding the best employees, before everything else, is making sure that they have the right culture in place and finding employees that not only fit the skill set that they're looking for, but fitting the culture. And that was the thing. When I got hired, I knew I was going to fit into the culture because I was ready to try anything. I was ready to be mentored. I was ready to just to have this amazing job. And so I really did fit in the culture because I stood out in front of some people because it's not like I spoke up, but it was more of like, if something was wrong and someone needed to say it within my group, I would be the one to say it because I felt like it was my duty as an employee to speak for people that didn't want to have to speak to the managers or the C-level, because I was like, I'm only 20 years old, and so I don't have much to lose, if I lost this job or had, got fired or something. But, it actually worked in my favor because a lot of stuff did get done when I, spoke up. And so that's another thing I would suggest to people, is that if you feel the need, or if you feel unheard at your company, or if you feel like there are some things wrong, I would highly suggest you talking with your manager, talking with HR, talking with anyone that is above you and can maybe help the vision of the company be steered into the right direction. Because if once you start saying those things to the managers, my thing was, I started feeling a certain way about the company, and I started feeling a certain way about, lack of communication, vision. And so I spoke to my manager about it. I spoke to HR about it. We had a huge meeting in the company. I said it in front of 40 people at my company. I talked about the lack of vision and the lack of communication at my company. I said that in front of everyone, including the CEO and the president of my company. And I was like, okay, I've said what has needed to be said, and, I'm speaking on behalf of my coworkers, so it's not just me feeling this way. And then I spoke about it in about November, early December, and they were like, we're going to have a meeting about this. We're all going to, I suggested that we would all have a meeting, from C-level to, in the digital marketing department, just so we could all be on the same page of what's going on in the future. And then that meeting never happened. So I knew after a month of waiting, I was like, okay, like, this is it. Like, that wasn't my breaking point, but it was something that just reassured me, like, I was not able to get what I needed out of that company. And I loved I loved so much about my job. It was not easy for me to leave, and it was not easy for me to make that decision. But I knew that I had to, because I was starting to become very unhappy at work, and it had nothing to do with my coworkers or my actual job. It was just coming down to the, I don't believe what people believe in and here, and I don't believe what we're doing, is the right way. And it's not like what I believe is the exact right way and exactly what needs to happen. But as digital marketing, people that work in digital marketing, it's important to work for a company that is innovative and is ready to try new things at all costs, because this job in this field, in this industry, is always changing, and it's probably not going to ever stop changing. So if you were working for a company where you feel like they're not innovative enough or they're not willing to try new things, then it's probably not going to work. And there are a lot of other reasons why I decided to leave, but at the end of the day, it was an amazing experience. I learned so much about myself, about other people, about working with people of all different ages and, skill sets and backgrounds. And it is truly wonderful what you get to experience when you get your first job. And, I feel like a lot of this, I started to feel guilty when I started wanting to leave. And I feel like this happens a lot with people when they get their first job, out of college, or, me just out of a course, and, being like, okay, this was what I wanted at that time. That's what I wanted when I was 19, and now I'm almost 21, and I was like, I feel like I'm letting down my 19-year-old self. But 19-year-old me wanted to get this job. And so now I asked myself, I was like, what does 21-year-old me want? And, and it's okay to have different, to level up. It's okay to have different, aspirations than you did when you were younger, because, people grow up, people experience new experiences, people work at new companies and have new jobs and, go through experiences that might change their mind, and that's okay. And so when I started wanting to leave my job, I was like, hey, well, what do I want to do? And I was like, I want to work remotely, because first, one thing I've learned about this experience is that I love working from my laptop, and I love being able to work from home, or work from a coffee shop, or work from a co-working space, or be able to work if I get sick, and that is super important for me. And so when I started realizing that I wasn't going to be able to ever work remotely with this company, that was another reason why I decided to leave. I decided that, hey, maybe I just need to make that future for myself, because if that's what I really truly want right now in this moment, is if that's what 21-year-old me wants, then that's what I'm going to strive for, and that's okay to have different goals than you had in the past. And so I promised myself, if I made around the same amount, at my job as I could on my own, then I would leave my job. And so I set this goal in around September or October, when I started wanting to leave. And then by the beginning of January, I, got to the point where I was like, okay, I can pay all my bills, and I'm making about the same amount that I was at work, and I will have more time. To me, this ability to have more time again is huge, because I can focus on more things like this channel, and growing myself, and reading more, and taking more courses, and getting more of my own clients. And to me, that's more important to having a 9-to-5 job. And that's just me, because that's just my personality type, but that's not for everyone. But when I started realizing that, and then I got to the point in mid-December, and I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And then, but I was like, I want to wait, because maybe I could have 2 incomes and it would be great. And then everything started happening where I had all those final big meetings with everybody, and nothing was getting done. And then I decided to pull the plug and quit. So it was a weird experience. I'm not going to lie. It was my first time getting a big girl job. It was my first time quitting a big girl job. It's very unexpected, and I'm sure my manager still to this day doesn't understand why I quit exactly. But everyone has their story, and everyone has that choice, and everyone is able to decide what truly makes them happy. At the end of the day, I want everyone to do what makes them happy. And so that's why I do not take anything personally. And I want everyone that is learning about digital marketing to have a wonderful, fabulous experience, because you deserve it. And it is such a great great career to get into, because the sky is the limit. It is still growing. And, you know, if you decide to quit your job and find a new job, that is totally fine, because there are thousands of other companies that are looking for people like us. And so that is the wonderful thing about it. But yeah, so currently for the rest of, you know, the first half of this year, I will just be working remotely and working for myself and having my own clients, which is the most, I feel like that's where I thrive the most. I had about, at a time I would not talk to all of my clients, but I had about, 300 clients that I had to manage. So I didn't have to talk to all of them personally, but I had to manage all of their ad accounts. So I am very good now at making, having a lot of accounts that I have to look after. And I'm also very good now at communicating with clients. That's another skill that I got on my job, so that's great. But what I really wanted out of this job was money that I could save up and to learn. And I did both those things, and I'm extremely, extremely grateful for both of them, and I would not take back this experience at all. And it's a wonderful thing to get the job that you wanted, and and then when you start realizing that maybe this isn't the place where you can grow, or you're not able to grow, that it's time to look at something else or find a new job or start freelancing. Or I know a lot of people that have gone into digital marketing jobs and then figured out I would rather freelance, so they started freelancing. And I resonate with those people more than the people that have 9-to-5 jobs that are digital marketing. So that was another reason how I knew that path was going to work for me more. But please, guys, understand that you need to do what's best for you, and you have the right and the choice to pick out what you want, and to pick out how you think your life, how you think you will be happier, whether it is freelancing or whether it is working a 9-to-5. I'm going to personally miss being around my coworkers, and because I really value that that tight bond with people and having a community. But that's why I'm going to be working at a co-working space, because I think it's very important to surround yourself with people, whether it's not people in your actual field. It is good, because you never know what's going to happen. You might make new clients, you might make new friends. So I think it's very important to always surround yourself with people, whether they're entrepreneurs or nice coworkers or just good people. So that being said, I hope you guys love this video. I really hope that you guys understand as to why I left. If I have not communicated in the best way, please let me know, because I will totally make a deeper video on this subject, but I feel like I've covered a lot. If you've stayed towards the end, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.